Welcome to Blue Compass, where we are very excited to have you join us for today's webinar, How to Create Powerful, Budget-Friendly Online Video Strategies. So many years ago, I worked at a video production company, and I was involved in a Hollywood movie. I did some location scouting, and I also did some special effects for the movie. And I was just absolutely struck at how much time and energy and budget and how many people it took to shoot a Hollywood movie. It took literally years, from the conception to the scripting, to the casting, to the shooting, to the production, to the pre-production, to theaters to get this movie live. And it took, as you might expect, millions of dollars and hundreds of people. Such a big endeavor. And I think for us as marketers and communicators and business owners, we are really subject to that idea of Hollywood movies when it comes to videos. I think we really think it needs to be absolutely perfect, and we're intimidated by just the pressure to create an outstanding, amazing, wonderful viral video that looks absolutely perfect every time. And so video marketing, in my opinion, is probably the most intimidating digital marketing tactic to get into because of these ideas about Hollywood movies and videos. And so we're going to help you today think about this a little bit differently and be a little more purposeful when you go to create videos, to share videos, and to just get more eyes on your brand through videos. So we have 5 things we're going to discuss with you today. And the first one is just the advantages of video marketing, how this can really help your brand, and what you can expect to see if you jump into this or if you take this a little more seriously. And the next thing is just how to generate great content ideas. We have so many organizations who come to us when we talk about content marketing, and they say, we're just not sure how we can come up with ideas for good content, whether it's for blogs or news articles or videos. So we have some great ideas to help you come up with content ideas. And then third, we're going to talk about easy ways to shoot and edit video that won't take a huge amount of budget for you. Fourth, we'll jump into how you can simply get more eyes on your video, how you can attract that target audience that you're going after. And then finally, we will have a Q&A session where we're going to sit down and answer the questions that you've submitted for this webinar. So thanks again for joining us, and we're going to dive right in. Now, first of all, video is such an incredible, dynamic, amazing medium, and we think it can offer so much to your brand. And we've seen a lot of advantages for our clients and just for our own brand at Blue Compass as well. And there's really 3 big advantages that we see when it comes to video, and there are probably more. And the first one is deeper expression. Videos have the ability to express things that you can't always get with copy or photos. So I think a great example of this is a demo video. If you put together a good video that demos your product or your service, it can really help convey the benefits and how it works, in many cases better than just copy or photos can. Another great example is a how-to video. These are incredibly popular on YouTube and social media, and it's for a good reason. These show how to do something in a really dynamic way that you can't always get via copy. And another example would be a testimonial video. If you have a client or a customer who's passionate about your brand, who really loves your team, the services that you do, and if they convey that on a video, it might be a little more moving and emotional than just a quick couple sentences of a testimonial on your website. Here's a great example from a church called Grace Hill Church, and they came up with a video, what to expect when visiting our church. And as you can see, this gives you a great picture of literally what you would expect if you would go to their church. And video is such a good way to do this, and it just wouldn't be the same if they simply wrote about this or showed you within a few photos. The next thing that we think video can really bring to your brand is more personality. People love to do business with good, positive, likable brands. Video can help make your organization more relatable, more likable, and more human to your target audience. And that's a really valuable thing. And we use video for that in many ways. Now, you see this through a lot of videos online that are fun or humorous, but another great way you can do this is through culture videos. Showing videos of your team, showing a team outing, what's happening in your office or what's happening as you work from home. This is a video here that our team created, and we went out, our CEO and I went out and met our team members' parents secretly without telling them. And I know that sounds really weird, but we actually drove over 500 miles. We visited various parents, we filmed it. We asked them questions about their son or daughter. We asked what their favorite things were when they were young, how they became the person they are now. And we took this, made a video, we brought it back to our team members and surprised them with it. And again, I know that sounds like a really weird thing to do, but we think that company culture is so important, and the basis of that is just understanding and appreciation. And what better way to understand our team members by interviewing their parents? And yes, our team did love it. Everyone had a good laugh about it. It was a really fun experience. But the video is a great way to express this and show that. And the third thing that video can really bring to your brand is just simply an expanded reach. Creating videos just opens up a whole new segment of your target audience. And I'm guessing a number of your target audience members love consuming video content, and maybe more so than photos or reading copy. So YouTube, of course, is one of the ways that this can occur. YouTube is the second biggest search engine. It's owned by Google. Another thing that is very important, of course, is putting video on social media. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and then a third way this gives you more exposure is simply search engine optimization. Google and other search engines generally love video. And of course, Google especially loves YouTube. So 78% of people watch online videos every week, and that stat seems to be rising year over year. This is a stat here. These are Facebook analytics, and we see stats from 5 different posts. And the first 3 posts are URL links. So in other words, someone pasted a URL into the post. And you can see the numbers there are the impressions. So the first one got about 11,000 impressions, the second one 19,000, the third one 22,000. And then that fourth post there was a video post. So someone uploaded a video and it got 92,000 impressions. And then the fifth one there got over 1 million impressions. We see this pretty consistently across not just Facebook, but every social media. Social media's algorithms favor video. So that means if you just simply upload a good video, more people will see it than if you upload a photo or just copy or you paste a link. That's true in 99% of the time. And of course, I'm talking organically, not boosted posts, promoted posts with money. So videos are just a great way to get more exposure. Social media video generates 1,200% more shares than images too, and we see this pretty consistently across our client base. When you upload a video into social media, the odds that someone is going to share it is generally higher than if you're just posting photos or copy. Google is a big fan of video, and especially when it's YouTube. If you embed YouTube videos on your website, this is another great way to get more exposure for your brand in Google. Here's an example of the content management system page on our website. And this was a few years ago. We simply had photos and copy on the page. And we saw that the time on page, in other words, the average session duration that people were spending was 50 seconds. And that's okay, but it's not fantastic. And so we created a video. We put together a really good demo of our content management system, had great voiceover and everything, and we embedded it on this page. The month after we did this, the average time on page was 6 minutes and 53 seconds. So I have never seen an instance in which putting a relevant video embedded into a web page hasn't increased that time on page. And that's one of the metrics that Google really likes to look at. Google wants to see people spending a lot of time on your web page and enjoying that content. If people are coming to your web page and they're just spending a few seconds and leaving, Google notices that. Google watches what happens on your website, and Google's not impressed with that, and it's going to say, you know, people don't seem to be enjoying this content, they're leaving right away. Maybe I should demote this in search engine rankings. Whereas if people are spending a lot of time on the page, Google might say, you know, people are spending so much time here, it seems like this is valuable content. Perhaps I should raise this in the ranking so more people access this content. So video is a great way to do that. All right, let's jump into how to generate great video content ideas. So I think the number one rule here is pretty simple. Don't pressure yourself to create a viral video. Just create a video. We put so much pressure on ourselves as marketers, as business owners, as communicators to create amazing, perfect videos. And you just simply don't have to do that every time. If you think about YouTube, I mean, YouTube's growth has been absolutely incredible, and just the millions and millions of users it gets every single day. And YouTube didn't acquire this because of its high quality videos. Most of the videos that do really well on YouTube are often just shot on an old iPhone. The lighting, the audio isn't perfect. It might not have perfect scripting or perfect camera angles. It's just the content that's good of videos that generally do well. So your brand doesn't have to have perfect Hollywood productions. Now there's two ways to create videos, and one of them is hire someone to do it, and the other is do it yourself, of course. And there's definitely a time and a place to create really high quality videos. We're working with a company right now, and we've come up with a script for them. We're working them through the whole process. We're putting together the video, we're shooting it, we're editing it, we're creating animations, and that's really great and that's appropriate in many occasions. But not every video you make has to be 100% perfect. So take the pressure off yourself and your brand. Now when it comes to generating content ideas, we encourage you to take a content marketing approach. This is really big here at Blue Compass. Now content marketing is quite simply sharing something free and valuable with your audience. This is very different than advertising. Advertising says, hey, my brand is the best, my service is the best, my product is the best, whereas content marketing says, here's something free and of value for you to enjoy, for you to laugh at, for you to get something out of. Now, we do this all the time, and this is really the whole principle behind blogging. It's giving away your expertise. And so when you think about what videos to create, we encourage you to have the majority of those videos follow this approach. Don't make videos just about how great you are, your team is, your products or your services are. Make videos that give away your expertise to your audience. Make sure the videos are very relevant to your audience, to your industry, and your location, but give away your expertise. There's really two ways to prove to someone you're an expert, and one is to claim it, and the other one is to show it. And showing it is obviously a better way. So if you give away some of your expertise, if you share some of your trade secrets so that your audience themselves can actually take action, it's a great way to gain awareness for your brand. It's a great way to become more likable, and it's a great way just simply to prove that expertise. So consider the content marketing approach. So here are 8 different types of video that we feel like would probably be good for your organization. And I'm sure there's more, but I think these are 8 really good, solid types of videos. And the first one is an FAQ. Frequently asked questions are one of the best forms of content. So sit down and think about, what is the most frequently asked questions you hear from your clients or your customers. That's a great place to start when it comes to creating content. Whether it's blog articles or whether it's video. So this is an example of what we do on a weekly basis here at Blue Compass. We answer a question every week. We address a topic, whether it's search engine optimization or web design or development or whatever it might be. And we put that on our YouTube. We often share it on social media as well. It's really been good for us as a great way to get more people aware of our expertise and our brand. Another great type of video is a how-to video. So this is a video by Logier Heating and Cooling. And they put this together, and it's just all about how to maintain your whole home humidifier. And this is something that people search for a lot in Google. And so this video and the article on which they embedded this video comes up quite a bit in search. And so someone could watch this and just simply do it themselves, but oftentimes someone will watch this and say, hey, maybe I should just have Logier come and handle all of this for me. So how-to videos are a really great way to gain awareness for your brand and bring more people to see your brand. Another great type of video is a webinar. That's obviously what I'm doing now. But if you can get one of your experts or a few of your experts together, answer a few questions, talk about something that's really, really valuable to your audience, and do it for half an hour, whatever that might be, it's a really great way to prove your expertise and to give value. And hopefully, as you do it or at the end of it, someone will reach out to you and ask you to help them with those services. A fourth video that might be good for you is an interview. This is an example of an interview I did with Harden recently, and this is something I just did on my personal YouTube. But creating an interview with someone who's in your industry and could simply answer some great questions that would be valuable to your audience is a great way to create content. And the person you interview will probably promote it on their social media as well, and their followers will become aware of it. All right, these next 4 videos are a little more self-promotional, but I think these can still be good for you as well. Number 5 is culture, a culture video. So I talked about this before with our Meet the Parents video, but this is an example of a blue potluck that we did here at Blue Compass. We decided to do a potluck, but all the foods people brought had to either be blue or have blue in the name. People thought that sounded pretty gross, and maybe it was, but it turned out pretty well. And we just simply filmed it, and then we put it on our YouTube channel. And people find it and become aware of our brand. And it's a great way to promote the great culture we have here at Blue Compass. The 6th one is a what to expect video. So I showed you one of those with Grace Hill Church, and here's another what to expect video with West 48, which is our conference center we have here at Blue Compass that anyone can rent out. We put this together so people would just figure out what to anticipate before they get here. A 7th type of video that might be useful for you is just simply a product or service video. Now this one's obviously pretty promotional, but it's just a video about why your product or service is valuable and useful and how it can benefit your audience. So here's an example of Security National Bank, who put together this video of a demo of their online banking. And then number 8, a video that you might also find valuable is a testimonial video. Here's a video that Orchard Place, which is a nonprofit that helps children with mental health in Des Moines, Iowa, put together. They call it Stories from the Heart, but it's just a great example of someone talking about the wonderful, wonderful help that Orchard Place provides its clients. So I hope those 8 types of videos are helpful to you and you can get some usage out of those. I think one of the things to remember here is when you create a video, though, no matter what type it is, get straight to the point and deliver the best content first. This is pretty different than the way videos used to be done, and different from most movies, of course, as well. We used to start out slowly and build up, and there would be a big impactful moment towards the end. But these days, when you create a video, we really encourage you, get the best points in there first. You have to hook someone because it takes someone just about 3 or 4 seconds to click away if they're not interested in the video. You just have a few seconds to capture the attention of your viewers. So make the first part of your video especially great. Give away the best part, make the beginning the most surprising and interesting. I think the bottom line is keep video content centered on your industry, your audience, and your location. This is really important. Whenever you create a video, focus on these 3 things. So let's say you're a dog grooming business and you're based in Des Moines, Iowa. If you want to create a video about the best way to bathe an energetic dog without making a huge mess, I think that would be a great example of good content. Another example of good content would be pet shampoo reviews. If you wanted to make a video, however, about St. Patrick's Day and why the holiday is so important, that would not be a good example because it's just simply not relevant to your brand. You might be passionate about that, you might be able to make a good video, but something like that dilutes your brand and it's going to confuse your viewers. So just make sure it's relevant to your audience and also your location. Another good example of a video would be coming up with a video about what dog parks are in Des Moines, the best top 10 dog parks in Des Moines. That's a great example because not only do you give away some expertise, you give something of value that probably has a pretty good keyword search volume in Google, you are staying within your industry and you are staying within your area of service. So if you're geographic, location-based, putting your location in there could be very valuable. People within the Des Moines area are going to find that article, they're going to read it, and hopefully continue on to other pages on your website and just become aware of your brand. Obviously, they already have dogs, so your brand should be very relevant to them. All right, next we're going to talk about easy ways to shoot and edit video. So again, there's two different ways you can create a video. One is hire a professional, a video production agency, or a video production company, or you can do it yourself, and both have their places. But here's a few things that we do at Blue Compass when we just shoot internal videos. And you can see here's a couple screenshots of just a little video setup that we have, and these are just for our internal videos that we shoot when we are filming our weekly videos. When it comes to video equipment, there's a few things you might want to consider. And the first one is a video camera. In the description of this video, we have links to some of this equipment, so you can check it out and purchase a few of the ones we suggest. But a video camera is an obvious necessity, and we have a video camera here at Blue Compass, but we don't use a video camera for everything. Sometimes when we're filming video, we'll use a webcam, and sometimes we'll simply use a smartphone. This webinar right now is being filmed on an iPhone. There's just different situations in which we use different things. So you don't have to buy any equipment at all if you don't want to. I mean, just a simple video on your old iPhone 7 without any special lighting, without any cuts or special angles or a script or anything like that can still be great video content from time to time. One thing we do suggest, however, maybe the most important piece of equipment you can have is a lapel mic. Again, we have a link to one on Amazon here. But a lapel mic, I'm wearing one now, is very important because audio is usually not fantastic when you're just shooting in a regular room or outside. There's usually a lot of white noise, and so the lapel mic really cuts that down and it makes things sound a lot better. If you do have an iPhone, remember to get a lightning to a headphone jack because that might be necessary for the lapel mic that you get. And then if you're interested in having more than one person on camera at a time, consider getting a room mic. As you can see in this screenshot, we have one here. Sound dampeners are another thing you might want to consider. So you can see here we have some blankets, some sound dampening blankets that we hang up when we shoot. There's a rug that also works to absorb some of that sound. You can buy sound dampening panels. And then, of course, lighting can also be important. And lighting actually isn't all that expensive, but if you're able to, consider getting some sort of lighting so that there's not excessive shadows on the face of whoever is on camera. Make sure when you shoot video, you have a good background. If there's any natural light, try to keep that behind the camera, not behind you, because things will look washed out. The lighting's important. When it comes to editing video, sometimes we're asked about what software we use. So we usually use Adobe Premiere, and that's kind of an industry standard. There's also Final Cut Pro is a great option. I use Adobe After Effects a lot. I just traditionally have over the years, and it's a little more for special effects and graphics and animation and things like that, but that's handy as well. And then there's some simple, less expensive options as well, and that would include iMovie, Adobe Spark, Animoto. YouTube and Facebook are also options for editing video. If you actually upload a full video, you can do some editing within those programs as well. And then here are some guidelines for video posts. You can see the max file size, the max length of the video, etc. Really, any dimension is pretty much fine for any social media or YouTube. But generally, social media still suggests that you upload a video that's horizontal and rectangular. On Instagram, obviously, a square-sized video is better. Now, note that these are guidelines for video posts, not ads or stories. Those are often different dimensions. And when you film video, we usually suggest you export it as an MPEG 4. Those seem to work really well for all platforms. And 30 frames a second is usually best. 60 is great too, but 30 is usually just fine. Now at Blue Compass, we actually talk a lot about stock photos. We're not big fans of stock photos. And the biggest reason is because Google is not either. Google suggests to stay away from stock photos just because they're inauthentic. And when you see a stock photo, you know it's a stock photo. You can tell it's not real and authentic, even though it might look really nice. And we generally feel the same way for stock video as well. That being said, sometimes if you're making a video, there is an exception in which stock video is really needed. So here's a few sources that you can use for stock video if that's necessary. Okay, one of the biggest questions we get here at Blue Compass when we do webinars or when we speak to groups is probably like one of the top 3 questions we ever get is, how long should my video be? And that's a great question, and I don't know that it's really an easy answer. There's a couple schools of thought here, and the first one is just that short videos are better because they're less intimidating. We've all received emails before where someone sends us that video that's like 11 minutes and 30 seconds, and you think, oh gosh, I don't have time to click on this. That's such a long video. So if someone sends you a video and it's long, I mean, that can be intimidating. Shorter videos are just a little less intimidating to click on. And people usually think of the web as a place for people with short attention spans, and therefore they think shorter videos are better. They can be in some situations. And on the flip side of that, long videos give more time for you to make an impact with your viewer. And long videos, if you think about it, actually give you more opportunity to add value than a short video. And it might be a little more intimidating to click on for some people, but there's a lot of benefits to long video too. And YouTube and Facebook, which are really the biggest video platforms right now, have had a lot to say about this recently. And this is a quote by Christos Goodrow, who is a VP of engineering at YouTube. And he said, if you have the choice of making an amazing 20-minute video that keeps people riveted instead of a 10-minute video, would the 20-minute video get more exposure? Quite possibly. So his point there is Google's algorithm can and often does favor long videos. Because like he said here, there's just simply more opportunity to give value with more minutes of more video. And Facebook is actually not dissimilar. And this is from a recent Facebook newsletter in which they said, we will add more weight to videos that keep people engaged, especially videos that are at least 3 minutes long. So Facebook actually gives a little bit of an algorithm boost to videos that are longer than 3 minutes and that are being watched. In other words, people aren't just clicking away from them. The bottom line is that your video's runtime should match the content of the video. There's no perfect length of a video. Sometimes long videos are better, sometimes short videos are better. And really a better metric to look at is just the average view duration. Average view duration is simply how long are people watching your video. Google and Facebook want people to watch it as long as possible because that means they're staying on their platform longer. So the priority for you is just to make a great video with as high quality content as possible that your audience is going to love. And hopefully they'll stay on it as long as possible. All right, next we're going to jump into how to get more eyes on your videos. So here's a few tips that you can use to get more out of your social videos. And the first one is to upload directly to the platform. In other words, instead of having a video on YouTube and posting a link from YouTube into your LinkedIn account or into your Facebook, upload the video directly to LinkedIn or directly into Facebook because the algorithm will favor that more. Again, Facebook doesn't want you going over to YouTube. LinkedIn doesn't want you going over to YouTube. They want you to stay in platform. Number 2 is to ensure that the video has a really great thumbnail. Most social media platforms, you can upload a video and then you can also upload an accompanying thumbnail, a screenshot. So if you can have one that's really well designed and interesting, that's great. The platform can also grab a screen from the video itself, and often it's like the first frame or one of the first frames in the video. So just make sure that's interesting and dynamic, because obviously people judge what they're going to click on based on how it looks. The next one is to add closed captioning. So if you post a video on social media, make sure that in your video editing software, you go in and you add closed captioning. And the reason is, when videos play in social media, they generally play without audio unless you click to enable audio. And so if you're talking on screen, no one's going to hear it at first. And oftentimes people won't even turn on the audio, they'll just read what it says. Next tip is to include a brief, interesting description. So in the post itself, make sure you include a little bit of copy. It doesn't necessarily have to be long, but make it relevant to the video, a good description of what the person will view in the video. Next one is to make a video that's conversation worthy. So especially on Facebook, getting comments and getting replies to comments are really, really important. The more comments and replies to comment you can get, the more people will see the post. So try to make your video not just attention grabbing, but conversation worthy. The next one is try different types of video. So this could be Facebook Live, carousel video ads, stories, whatever it might be, but try variations of video and see what works best for you on your social platforms. Next is promote your post. So we've talked a lot about trying to get more traction within algorithms here, but really the best way to do that, unfortunately, is to pay for it. So if you have a great video that you're really proud of, you feel like it represents your brand well, you feel like it will bring people back to your website, pay to boost the post. You can pay maybe even as little as $5, $10 in some cases, but this allows you to target your exact audience you're going after to get the right eyes on it. Because if you just post a video, it could be a very small amount of your followers that actually even see it, because social media is really pay to play these days, unfortunately. So we'll talk a bit more about this in our Q&A session. And then finally, review your metrics for your video. Very important. Don't just post videos on your social media accounts and hope for the best. Review what is successful, what's working well, which videos are really attractive to your audience, what are people gravitating towards, and then make more videos like that so you can continue to have success. Facebook's content will be 100% video in the next few years. Yes, this is an actual quote made recently by one of Facebook's VPs. That's a bold claim. I don't know if that's true or not, but clearly social media is moving more and more towards video. Now, one other thing in regards to Facebook with video, we've noticed that videos that are watched for more than 1 minute get an algorithm boost. And Facebook said that directly as well. So try to keep people on your video as long as possible. And of course, videos over 3 minutes in length also get an algorithm boost in Facebook. And finally, Facebook has stated that original videos will get more eyes on them than videos that have already been posted before. So in other words, if there's a video that's been shared around a lot and you post it on your business's Facebook page, that's not original content. It might be good, but it's not original, and Facebook really wants original content. So upload original videos into Facebook. All right, so now we're going to talk about YouTube, and here's just a few tips you can use to get more out of your YouTube videos. And the first one is to make the title intriguing, include keywords, and be less than 70 characters. People obviously use the title of your video to judge the quality of it and if they want to click on it or not. So ensure that that title is really, really high quality, that people actually want to click on it. Include good keywords that are relevant to your video. And so again, to use the example of a dog groomer, if you were to come up with a title that didn't have anything about dogs or grooming or anything like that, that'd probably be a mistake. Use some good keywords in there that you want to show up for in search. And then finally, make sure the title itself isn't longer than 70 characters, because if it is, it will get cut off, especially on mobile. The second tip here for YouTube is to add a lengthy description. So in YouTube, you have an area where you can add a description, and you can add a lot of content in there, and we really encourage you to do so. Add some links to your website, or a relevant blog article, or relevant services or product page, and describe everything really well. And that first sentence you put in the description is really important, because if someone finds your video in YouTube or in Google, they're going to see the title, and then they'll see about the first sentence or so of your description after it. The next tip is to ensure your video has a great thumbnail. Just like on social media, you want to ensure you have an attractive thumbnail. YouTube can select a thumbnail for you, but in most cases it's probably good to include one yourself. Make a graphic that looks interesting and attractive. Sometimes we put words on ours as well to get people's attention and just briefly tell them what the video is all about. The next tip is to add closed captioning. So unlike a social media video, you don't need to directly add closed captioning to the video itself. But if you take the time and energy to add closed captioning through YouTube's video studio itself, that can actually help you get more traction in search, because Google and YouTube really appreciate it when you do that. Another tip is to add time codes to longer videos. So a video like this that's really, really long would benefit from little time codes that you can add in the description. And you can see here, it's really simple. All you have to do is add the exact time, and then you just write a brief description. And then that allows the viewer to jump from section to section, especially if it's like an hour long and you're talking about different topics. This is something that viewers will really appreciate. The next one is to add an ending screen and a subscribe button. So this is something you can do through the YouTube Studio Editor. And doing so will add just a little screenshot towards the end of your video that will pop up along with the describe button. And usually when we do this, we click the option to allow YouTube to choose the best video, but sometimes it makes more sense to choose another relevant video. But the whole idea here is that you really want to keep people watching your videos and staying on your YouTube channel. You don't want them clicking away and doing something else. So make sure you include these videos at the end. And if YouTube actually sees that people go from one of your videos to the other, it's going to be really, really impressed. YouTube wants as many people as possible to spend as much time as possible on its platform. So include this at the end. And then lastly, again, embed your YouTube videos in your web pages. When we write blog articles these days, we almost always film an accompanying video and we embed it in the article page. And that enables viewers to not just watch the video, but also read that copy. And I think it's a great thing to do on your service line pages, maybe your About Us page, your products pages as well. It gives people the option to either read to consume the content or to watch a video. And again, that leads to a better time on page, which is really good for search engine optimization. I actually got an email from YouTube this morning. I'm on their email newsletter list, and they had an interesting quote. It said, "Our algorithm doesn't have an opinion about the content you make. It actually focuses on what your viewers might enjoy based on things like videos they've watched, likes and dislikes, and feedback. So instead of catering to the algorithm, concentrate on your fans. If you do so, the algorithm will follow." I think that's generally good advice. YouTube's algorithm isn't perfect, but if you can just create good quality content that will resonate with your audience, it will help your video get more views and it'll get your brand more awareness. So there's a few ideas for you when it comes to filming videos. I hope you found that helpful. If we can ever help you coming up with a video, helping you with search engine optimization, or promoting these videos on YouTube or social media, we're really good at targeting and getting more eyes on your video and ultimately back to your website so that you can focus on conversions. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'd love to give you a hand. So now we are going to jump into our Q&A session, and Mallory Cates, one of our digital marketing specialists, is going to join me. Welcome to the Q&A portion of our webinar today, and I'm happy to have Mallory Cates with us today, one of our digital marketing specialists. And Mallory has a lot of experience not only with some video, but specifically digital marketing when it comes to video, YouTube, Facebook, social media, etc. And so I'm very happy to have you here to lend some of your expertise to our audience today, Mallory.
Thanks, Drew.
Of course. And so we'll run through just a few of the questions that were submitted for this webinar. And in addition to that, once we are done with this, if you'd like to subscribe to the YouTube channel, we have videos like this all the time. We put at least one video on per week in which we share some digital marketing expertise that might be handy to your online presence. And tomorrow we are going to drop a new video that will be all about how much does it cost to get 1 million views on YouTube or Facebook. I think that'll be an interesting answer. So that video will appear tomorrow, so please subscribe so you can see that. All right, so Mallory, I'm gonna ask the first question here. When should you pay more to get eyes on a video post on social media?
That's a great question. We definitely don't put ad spend behind every single video that we put out there. Like Drew said, we put a lot of videos out, so they don't all need money behind them. But if you're really trying to boost awareness around a certain campaign, or if you have an actionable item you'd like your audience to take, that's a good time to promote a video. For example, we have a client that promotes their rebates through video each year. So since that's something where they want their audience to know when they can save money, they promote that through video.
So yeah, in most cases, we probably suggest that our clients do a promotion or pay to get more eyes on a video when there's something really specific and actionable that they want their audience to do.
Exactly.
Versus like maybe a culture video.
Right.
It's nice to get eyes on those, but it's also good when you have something you directly want the viewer to do.
Exactly, yes. All videos are great to have more engagement and boost awareness, but for specific campaigns, it's more important to put money behind them.
Yep, absolutely. Cool. All right. First question for me.
Yes, for you. In regard to frequency, how often is too often to post videos?
Good question. We get this question a lot, really, when it comes to just content in general, whether it's videos or blog articles or news articles or whatever there might be. Basically, it's like, how often should I update my website? How often should we produce new content? And usually we give the answer, as often as you're able to produce great content. And for some of us, that might be daily. For some of our organizations, that might be weekly. Maybe it's even monthly. You might not have the time and budget to do it frequently, and that's fine. But if there's can at least be some sort of schedule, I would say, instead of just hoping you can create content and just waiting for it to happen, just being purposeful about scheduling it so that your audience can see there's some sort of regularity with the content that you're producing. And I think your audience wants to hear from you, and it's good to show them you're stable, you're there, and you have expertise. Mm-hmm. So whether it's video or blog article, I would say as often as you're able, and ideally if you can put something out there once a week, that's great, and if not, even once a month is fine.
Yes, having that regular content, I think, helps them come back for more, and they expect it.
Yes, absolutely. Because if someone comes to your site or your YouTube channel or your social media and nothing has happened for a couple months, I mean, they're probably not likely to come back as often.
Right.
Yeah. All right, number 2 from Mallory. When is a good time to do a Facebook Live video?
Facebook Live is something that really depends on your audience. So you'll hear us say that a lot, but you need to know when your people that follow your page are active on Facebook and they're ready to watch. The worst thing is to put out a Facebook Live video and no one's there to tune in. So really check into your Facebook Insights and see when your audience is there to tune in. And another thing we recommend is let people know in advance when you're going to go live. Again, that regularity really ties in with the Facebook Lives, and just letting them know, maybe promote it and let them know in advance so they can be there and be ready for you when you're ready to go live.
Yeah, and Facebook Insights, I mean, you're probably aware, but those are like Facebook Analytics.
Yep.
And if you're logged in, you can access those, and there is a section that shows you basically when your audience is active. In other words, when those who frequent your page or follow you are active. So that's really good advice. That's a great time for a Facebook Live video. And once your video is done, I mean, it's not like it goes away forever, too.
Yeah.
It can certainly live on your page after that.
Exactly. So just make sure, even if, say, hey, you missed my Facebook Live, tune in here and they can see it again later too.
Yep, great.
Ready for your next question?
I'm ready.
How do you get our team members to overcome the intimidation of being on camera?
It is intimidating to be on camera. It is, and that's very understandable. We put so much pressure on ourselves to look perfect, to sound perfect when we're on camera. And I think, probably what I'd say, Mallory, to that is just your audience probably isn't looking for you to be perfect. They're looking for authenticity. They're looking for personality. They're looking for a relationship. They're looking for likability. And I think that all those things can be done by someone who isn't a perfect on-screen talent. I'm certainly not a perfect on-screen talent. I haven't been doing this for that long personally, but I just know it's important to get our brand out there and to connect with people, especially these days. Yes. Online. And so I just think, we just put so much pressure on ourselves when we make videos. Again, I said this earlier, but it doesn't have to be a Hollywood budget. You don't have to be perfect. And, there's a critic for everything, I suppose, but it's more important to reach your audience and build awareness for your brand than it is to worry about critics.
And you are always your biggest critic, for sure.
Yes.
When you're looking at yourself back at a video, you will notice things that no one else does. And this is only my second time on video too, so I would say as long as you're out there and you're getting in front of the camera, just try it and you'll get comfortable with it eventually.
Yeah, it gets easier every time you do it and you get less critical of yourself, but you're right, we are all our biggest critics. Everyone says, I hate the way my voice sounds, and that's fine, we get used to it. No one else hates the way your voice sounds, at least hopefully not. So don't put so much pressure on yourself. It's all right, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Okay, next question for you, Mallory. What social media or video platforms do you see the best results when posting a video? So I suppose that could be for us or for our clients.
Yes, and I think this one again can sometimes depend on your audience because it depends on where your followers are, but sometimes it also matters on the type of content that you're posting, and don't just look at where you have the most followers and where you're getting the most views, because those might not be your most valuable users that are checking out your content. So go into Google Analytics and make sure that the people checking out your video and clicking back to your website are actually paying attention and engaging once they get to your website. And like I mentioned, the type of content might vary as well. So when we post SEO videos as Blue Compass or some of our more technical topics, they perform really well on LinkedIn because those are where your industry minds are and they are engaging with that when they get to the website. Whereas our web design videos that can reach a lot larger audience on Facebook, a lot more people can engage with that there just because it's a more broad topic. So it really does depend on your audience and the type of content that you're posting a video about.
Yeah, I agree, absolutely. It totally depends on your audience. And there's just not one platform, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or whatever that might be, that's the number one best to put a video on.
It just always varies.
It varies so much on your audience. I think it's all about experimentation, and whether it's video or just anything in digital marketing, that's one of the things we love about digital is you can always look and see how it did. I mean, you could put a video on Twitter and have no one view it at all, and then you could put a video on Facebook and have thousands of people view it and have a lot of success. So it's all about just experimenting and seeing what works best. And your brand does not have to be on every social media. Just choose one or two or however many you have bandwidth for and just do those really well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your next question. When should we invest in a professionally created video?
Okay. Well, a lot of what I talked about today was how you can create videos yourself. And I do think that, a lot of us as, marketers can create videos ourselves and do a good job and get our message out without it being a Hollywood production again. But certainly there are times in which you want to use an agency or video production company to create a really good high quality video. Now, if you're doing weekly, frequently asked question videos or ask the expert videos, probably not unless you have a really high budget. But if you have like an important video that's all about your organization and its history and an overarching video that encompasses all your services or something like that, and maybe it's going to be embedded on the about page on your website or on your home page, maybe you have a full screen video. Those are instances in which it's probably important to use a professional to create a really, really good video. It's really amazing if you can get a great script written, if you have wonderful VO, if you have the right lighting. You do want your organization to be portrayed very professionally, so it's probably not the best idea to get out your smartphone and just shoot a quick video and then place that on your home page. In most cases, you probably want that to be professional. But again, if you're putting videos on social media or YouTube or doing a regular marketing video or something like that, it's very likely you could handle those yourself or your staff could. Good question. Yeah. Was that well answered?
Yes, that was
okay, great. Thank you. All right, here's a good question. How do I know if my video is successful? It's kind of a broad question, but they're asking just how do they know if they're having success with this video endeavor?
Yeah, that's a hard question. I think this goes back to kind of what we just touched on, where you need to check not just your platform analytics, but also checking out your website analytics and making sure that they are taking action on your website once they get there. We like to look at how people are behaving. So in Google Analytics, we look at the average time on page, see if they're watching the full video on platform and on your website, and also seeing, are they clicking into other pages? Are they interested in learning more once you tell them all about it? So that's kind of how we define success, and keep in mind that videos are more about awareness than necessarily getting conversions unless you're telling them what actionable item you want them to take. But overall, just make sure that you are setting a goal and keeping track of the metrics on if you're accomplishing it. And everything with digital marketing is about learning, optimizing, and changing, making adjustments if something's not working, and working at it from there.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Mallory, that videos usually are a little bit more for awareness, a little more for top of the funnel. And when we do like search engine optimization or like a social media campaign or Google Ads or something like that, that's usually a lot more targeted towards conversion. So in other words, we're trying to get someone to do a direct action, like fill out a form or sign up for an event or something like that.
Yeah.
But videos, yes, you're right, are usually a little more top of the funnel and about awareness and about establishing one's credibility and expertise. I think that's a really good point. How often would you say, Mallory, that we should check our analytics, whether it's Google Analytics or YouTube or Facebook Insights or whatever that might be?
I would check them very regularly. We pull monthly reports, but we are in there every week trying to check out which pages are performing well. If we know we have a campaign going out and we want to keep an eye on it, we're checking, did they go to that page? How long did they watch the video on social media versus how long they watched on the page? What other pages did they click into? We're just trying to see, are they trying to learn more about us, and was this a success?
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
Did that answer your question?
That was a perfect answer.
Okay. You ready for your last question?
I am. I'm ready.
Should we try to grow our YouTube channel? And if so, how?
So once again, I don't know if there's a perfect answer for that. Yes, if you have a YouTube channel and you want to get more followers, more subscribers, more views, that's a noble goal. But for us, we always ask, why and to what end? And so it's very possible that you might have a YouTube channel and you're just not getting any traction on it, and you're seeing that people aren't clicking any of the links in your descriptions to go back to your website. So, I think, working on growing your YouTube channel is generally a good idea, but not if it's not giving you great results. If people aren't connecting with your content, or if they're not going back to your website, or if they're not spending a lot of time.
That's a good point, Drew.
Yeah, thank you. I think a lot of the times we just think, as marketers, I need a better YouTube channel. I need more views. I need more followers. I need more Facebook impressions.
Right.
And those are all great things, but those are kind of top of the funnel metrics. And ultimately what you want is more people to go to your website and then to contact you or sign up for an event or purchase a product or something like that. So growing a YouTube channel is great as long as you can track it back to some ROI. And as to how to do that, I mean, I talked a little bit about that before, but I suppose that could be a webinar in and of itself. But, you know, I think one of the main things if you're serious about growing a YouTube channel is just creating regular quality videos. I know that sounds really simple, but if you can just create videos pretty regularly that are useful and that give away that expertise, that's fantastic. Doing some boosted video posts, some campaigns and things like that to get more awareness of your channel could be really valuable, but make sure you have some good content on there first. You're never gonna have, 10,000 subscribers if you just have 6 videos on your YouTube channel. Like, there has to be a decent amount of content and it needs to be updated fairly frequently.
And that makes sense. I think about our most successful blogs and our most successful videos, and it's always the one giving people a helpful answer. Those are the ones that people want to see, and that's how they learn more about you. And you build your brand that way.
Yep, absolutely. And I talked about the various types of videos that you can create, and there's definitely a time and a place to create those videos that talks about how great you are at this service or how great your product is. But yes, like you said, Mallory, like those videos that share expertise, that are fun and interesting, like those are what really capture attention on YouTube and really any platform. So that's always what we suggest, that content marketing approach, like giving away that valuable expertise is what will get you traction on YouTube. If you have a YouTube channel and all you do is talk about your services and how great you are, you're probably not gonna grow and expand that much. You have to give away expertise. Especially
keep in mind, YouTube is a search platform, so people are there to look for answers that they need and what they need to know. They want to, it's just like Google where they have a question and they want it to be answered, so whatever video answers that the best will perform really well on YouTube.
Yep. Yeah, and another thing, that just jumped in my mind is, if you're a local company and your audience you're going for is in your city or just in your state or geographically a smaller area, we really suggest putting good keywords in your title and in your description that are region specific. So again, like if you are in Des Moines, Iowa, and your clientele is here and you just work with people in Des Moines, Iowa, make sure you put Des Moines, Iowa where appropriate in the title and things like that, because you could have 1 million people from California come and watch your video, and that's great and that's good, I suppose, but that awareness isn't particularly valuable, and those people aren't going to become your clients unless they move to Des Moines because you work with people just in Des Moines. So just be aware of the geography. And in YouTube, when you post something, and you can do this in other platforms too, you can actually tag the location. You can tag Des Moines, Iowa, or you can probably tag your business directly in YouTube. And sometimes that is of value because other people might search for that region, or they might click on Des Moines, Iowa, and then it will reveal the latest videos that were produced there, and someone might find yours.
Yeah, that's awesome advice.
Thanks. All right, so there you go. There's the Q&A session. I hope those were helpful to you. Again, if we can ever be of service to you, if we can help you with any of this stuff, it can be really intimidating, we know, but we would be more than happy to do so. And like I said, tomorrow we're going to be posting a video called How Much Does It Cost to Get 1 Million Views on YouTube or Facebook? So we encourage you to check back out our YouTube channel tomorrow to check that video out. Please subscribe to us to get more of this great content. Thanks again for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm just
Thank you for joining us. It's going in.
Thanks, Drew.
That's pretty